The hero Leo Demonheart was the one who saved all of humanity by defeating the Demon Lord. Everyone was grateful, but there was one person who was very afraid of Leo's power, the king. The king became so scared of Leo's might that he chose to betray him. He banished Leo from the kingdom. This betrayal made Leo angry, and he decided that he would get revenge by joining forces with the very demons he had once fought. Leo then began his journey to a castle where he hoped to join the demons' side. When he got there, he noticed that the castle was falling apart and in really bad shape. He didn't let that stop him, though, and went right into the throne room. Inside the throne room, he met the demon queen named Echidna. She wasn't alone. She had her 4 powerful followers with her, known as the 4 great generals. Leo walked up to them, took off his hood, and told them who he was, the former hero who once saved humanity. He explained to them that he was there to apply for a job in the queen's demon army, but Echidna was not happy to see him. In her anger, she threw fire magic at Leo, burning only his cape. Leo tried his best to convince her that he could make her army even stronger, but she kept attacking and refusing him. Feeling desperate, Leo asked the 4 great generals for help, and they agreed to meet with him. During their meeting, it was revealed that a year ago, Echidna's demon army tried to invade the human world. The human king gathered a bunch of heroes to fight back, but only Leo was strong enough to defeat the demons. As Leo talked with the generals, he started to remember how he had met and defeated each one of them. The first general, Edwald, was a dragon, and he and Leo had a sword duel. Leo won that fight. The next general, Merns, was half demon and half human. He was beaten by Leo's powerful magic. Leo also remembered meeting the third general, Lily, a beast who had forgotten who she was when they first met. Leo took care of her, but when she got her memory back, she tried to kill him. She lost the fight, and because of her tribe's belief in marrying the one who defeats you, she fell in love with Leo. The last general was Steina, a powerful succubus who uses magic. She lost to Leo when he made a barrier that stopped all her magic. Leo figured out that Steina was not very good at fighting up close, and that's how he defeated her. Steina wants to talk about something different, so she asks Leo why he wants to join their demon army. Leo starts to tell his story, and here's what he says. After he had a really tough battle with Echidna and managed to defeat her, he went back to the capital city where he was from. But when he got there, he noticed that people were looking at him in a strange way. They looked scared and worried. He soon figured out that word had spread all around that he was incredibly strong, and that made people scared. They were afraid that he might turn evil and use his strength to destroy everyone. That's why the king, who wanted to keep his people happy, called Leo to thank him for protecting something very important called the Philosopher's Stone. But then, the king told Leo that he had to leave and couldn't live in their lands anymore. So, Leo had to go into hiding and started traveling all over the world. He felt lost until one day he heard that Echidna was looking for new soldiers for her army. Leo thought that maybe he could join them, so he got ready to show Echidna what he could do. He felt that if the world wanted to get rid of him, he would be the one to get rid of them first. Steina listened to Leo's story and believed him. She decided that he could join the demon army, but only on a trial basis. He would have 1 month to prove himself, and Steina would keep a close eye on him. But there was one big rule. Queen Echidna couldn't find out that Leo had been hired. After the meeting, Leo went back to the throne room, thinking about how much work there was to do. When he was a hero, he had almost destroyed the entire demon army, so they would have to rebuild almost everything. Then he remembered something interesting about Echidna. She had once told her soldiers not to kill anyone because she wanted to rule peacefully. Leo was curious about this and planned to ask her why she acted that way after he passed her test. The next morning, Leo got up very early, ready to work. He went to Steina's room, but the door was locked. He used magic to open it and tried to wake her up, but she told him to go away because she was really tired. Leo didn't give up, though. He used another spell to change his voice to sound like Echidna's, hoping that might get her out of bed. Steina wakes up in a panic when she hears Leo speaking with Echidna's voice. She immediately starts giving a report about all the problems and things that need to be fixed in the army. But soon, she realizes that she's actually talking to Leo, not Echidna. This makes her really angry, and she starts attacking Leo with her magical powers. After the confusion, Steina gets dressed and meets Leo in his office. They talk about how the demon army is in bad shape. When Leo attacked the castle before, most of the important demons had to go back to their world to heal. Steina has been left alone to take care of everything that's left, and it's a big job. Leo wants to help. He offers to work on a special list of tasks that Steina needs to complete. He even says he can fix something called the Mata reactors, which usually only the person who made them can do. But Leo can do it because he can match Steina's magical energy. Before he gets to work, he changes into a dark knight disguise and calls himself Lord Onyx so no one will recognize him. As he's leaving the office, he sees a girl named Diana who looks at Leo and then runs away. Leo doesn't let that stop him, and 30 minutes later, he's back in Steina's office, telling her that he's fixed the reactors. But Leo is tired, so he tells Steina that he needs to rest. Before lying down, he makes a magical sphere called the Mirage Eye so he can watch Steina work while he takes a break. Steina thinks he's had enough rest after a while, but Leo says he needs more. An hour goes by, and Steina gets really angry. She tries to pull Leo off the sofa, but he uses magic that makes everything heavy to stay put. This makes Steina even angrier, and she's about to use some powerful magic against him. But just then she's interrupted when Diana knocks on the door. Diana hands a special talisman to Leo, telling him that it worked perfectly. Steina learns that Leo had purchased a purple gem called an amethyst from a goblin creature. Leo then filled the gem with magical energy that matches Steina's, and he taught Diana how to use the charm to help with the energy reactors. Diana, in turn, found 3 more people to help her share the work. Leo asks Diana to continue looking after the reactors along with her new helpers, and he promises to create enough talismans for all of them. Steina is surprised and impressed by what Leo has done. Leo explains that Diana was concerned about Steina's health because she's been working so hard since the army lost their battle. He assures Steina that she can ask for help if she needs it, which touches her deeply. Later, Leo advises Steina to let others help her more and gives her a paper that rearranges her tasks. He points out some tasks marked in red that she can let others do, and he suggests she teach her followers to handle them. Steina admits that she was wrong about Leo and thanks him, saying she's looking forward to working together. That night, Steina calls Leo to her again and tells him about a mission involving Lily, who's going to the Long Sea. The dragons on an island there are allies of the demon army and supply the castle with goods. Steina shows Leo Lily's disastrous plan for the mission and asks him to go. The next day, Leo arrives at Largo, where he finds Lily and her followers having a wild race and causing destruction everywhere. After the race, everyone takes a break. Leo sits on the beach and starts thinking of a way to use the army's creatures' skills to carry the supplies in the best possible way. Lily comes over and offers Leo a carrot, but he turns her down. She then goes to offer the carrots to her workers. One of them asks who Leo is, but just as Lily is about to spill the beans, Leo stops her and says that he's just an assistant. After taking a little break, Leo attempts to hand out some tasks to the workers, but they ignore him. They explain that only Lily can give them orders. Hearing this, Leo decides to take a pause at a nearby store. A few minutes later, Lily comes in to check on him. Leo tells her that his head is hurting, which makes Lily quite worried. She rushes off to find medicine for him. Seeing how concerned she is, Leo concocts an elaborate plan to teach her a lesson. When Lily comes back with the medicine, she finds Leo pretending to be on the brink of death, claiming that a poisonous snake bit him. He tells her that the only cure is some special herbs found in the western peaks. Lily immediately races off to find them. As soon as she leaves, Leo magically heals himself and reveals that he summoned the snake. He sends a magical eye called a Mirage Eye to watch Lily's progress. He explains that he's set up challenges on the way to the western peaks, and Lily can only pass them by asking her followers for help. Meanwhile, Lily transforms into a divine wolf named Fenrir to collect the herbs faster. She reaches the first obstacle, an unbreakable rock. She tries to break it with sheer strength, but it doesn't work. Leo watches and waits, hoping she'll ask for help. However, Lily is stubborn and keeps hammering at the rock until she finally breaks it. This frustrates Leo, as she didn't learn the lesson he was trying to teach. Next, Lily encounters a tunnel filled with gooey creatures called slimes. They block her path, but she uses her wolf howl to destroy the main one, causing the others to be destroyed as well. Finally, she reaches a cliff that she can't get past. Here, Leo shows up, disguised as a man named Godheart. He advises her to ask a friend for help. This time, Lily listens and goes to find assistance. After a while, Lily shows up in the river below the cliff, explaining to Leo that she asked for help in a nearby town. They told her she could swim across the river's bottom and then climb up. Lily easily crosses to the other side of the river and continues to pass the other tests that Leo had laid out for her until she finally reaches the western peaks to collect the medicinal herbs. The following day, Leo wakes up and discovers that Lily has left the medicinal herb for him. She then comes into the store to check on Leo and presents him with a drawing of a new mission plan. She wants to know if Leo thinks this plan could lead to them working better together. Leo asks her if she came up with this plan herself, and she tells him that Godheart advised her on it. At this moment, Leo realizes that he just needed to suggest a better way of working. Later, Leo meets with Steina and provides her with a report on the successful mission in Largo. This report leads Steina to recognize that Lily is gradually growing and maturing. Then, Steina shows Leo a message from the demon queen Echidna, in which she demands that the Dark Knight Onyx come to see her immediately. Leo quickly goes to Echidna's living room, where the demon queen warmly greets him and thanks him for everything he has done for the army. She even invites him to a private feast, just the two of them. As they talk and drink together, Echidna asks Leo to remove his helmet. However, Leo declines, saying it's a matter of politeness. Echidna attempts to take it off anyway, but before she can, Leo uses magic to slightly alter his appearance. Upon seeing his face, Echidna tells him she likes what she sees. Leo then tries to get Echidna drunk to end the conversation, but after serving her several drinks, he realizes that it won't work. After a few hours of chatting, Echidna thanks him again for everything he's done and tells him that anyone is welcome in her army. Curious, Leo asks her about the hero, and this question makes Echidna angry. She begins to speak negatively about Leo, unaware that he is actually the man in front of her. She even complains that if it weren't for the hero, she would already have possession of the Philosopher's Stone. We learn about the Philosopher's Stone, a legendary treasure that was used in building the capital city. This magical stone is said to have the power to transform barren, dead lands into lush green fields and even cure diseases. Curious about why Echidna, the demon queen, wants the Philosopher's Stone, Leo asks her about it. She leads him to a balcony to enjoy a beautiful view and then explains her motivation. Echidna reveals that the demon world is a lifeless wasteland without sunlight or vegetation, and it's in complete chaos due to the harsh conditions. Echidna's dream is to use the Philosopher's Stone to rejuvenate her world and make it a wonderful place to live. Leo also questions Echidna about why she prohibits unnecessary killing. Echidna's response is simple yet profound. She can't help but feel empathy for humans. She also admits that she doesn't harbor resentment against the hero Leo, recognizing that he was just fulfilling his duty. The conversation then turns to Leo's reasons for joining the demon army. Moved by Echidna's sincerity, he's about to reveal his true identity to her, but they're suddenly interrupted by Steina and Lily. They present two notes to Echidna. The notes reveal that Merns has left the army to travel, and Edwald has taken away the apple because he couldn't properly train his soldiers. After reading the notes, Leo offers to find Merns, while Echidna promises to deal with Edwald. Leo leaves the castle and follows Merns' magical trail to a forest. There, he is unexpectedly attacked by Merns, who attempts to kill him. However, Leo quickly reveals his true identity, calming Merns down. The two then sit to talk, but Leo takes a precaution by magically chaining Merns' ankle to prevent him from leaving, as the army needs him. During their conversation, Merns informs Leo that he will need to interview new recruits in 3 days by himself, a task that he's not comfortable with because he's not good at speaking. Merns was planning to travel to other towns to learn how to become a better communicator. Since he's unsure about this ability and has an upcoming task to interview new applicants, he turns to Leo for help. He asks Leo to teach him how to communicate effectively in just 3 days. Leo seems hesitant at first, which prompts Merns to try to leave. However, he's stopped by the magical chain Leo had placed on his ankle. Seeing this, Leo reassures Merns and tells him that he will be his new teacher. Later, Leo talks with Echidna, the demon queen, who fills him in on what happened with Merns. She also tells Leo that Edwald, another character, is fine, even though he had tried to take an apple using various weapons that ended up destroyed. In a new effort to improve Merns' communication skills, Leo and Merns disguise themselves as waiters in the castle's dining room. This practical experience allows Merns to learn how to better relate to others. Leo advises him to empathize with others and listen actively. As they serve food, Merns puts Leo's tips into practice and makes a thoughtful recommendation to some new mercenaries about what type of meat to eat. One of the mercenaries rudely ignores Merns and tries to mistreat him, but Merns quickly subdues him, breaking his arm, and defeats the others with ease. After the altercation, as they walk through the castle, Leo commends Merns for his communication with the mercenaries. They proceed to Leo's room for a simulated interview. Merns asks Leo why he joined their group, suspecting that Leo's earlier statement about wanting to destroy humanity was a lie, as Leo has enough power to do so on his own. Leo tries to dodge the question, making light of the situation. Merns then asks Leo if he ever wanted to see the demons dead. At this point, we learn a significant detail about Merns' background. His parents sold him because he was half demon. Merns ended up serving several masters. Eventually, he was bought by the Assassin's Guild, where he discovered that he had a natural talent for killing. During a time when he helped the demon army invade a city, Merns was surprised to learn that Echidna, the demon queen, wasn't there to kill everyone. Instead, she began to do good things for the city's inhabitants. Witnessing her kindness, Merns decided to join Echidna's army, and he found that he got along well with several people there. Merns tells Leo that he initially helped Echidna with the hope of destroying the humans, but his plans were thwarted by Leo. Now curious about Leo's story, Merns asks to hear it. Leo begins by describing a time thousands of years ago when the human world was in the machine age. Suddenly, a large hole appeared in Tokyo, and many demons came through, wreaking havoc and spreading conflict throughout the planet. Recognizing that humans were powerless against the demons, humanity united to create 12 biological weapons with demonic power. These were known as the Demon Heart series, and their sole purpose was to defend humanity. As time passed, these heroes began to age and die, with some falling on the battlefield. Leo, however, was designed to be durable and long-lived, and he ended up being the only one of the 12 to survive. After the fall of the industrial world, Leo took on the role of teaching magic to humans. He continued to defend them in times of war, never abandoning them. However, Leo confesses to Merns that he felt relieved when the humans banished him, as it allowed him to stop being a hero and start being himself. Now, Leo lives a second life, assisting the demon army. He assures Merns that he will help them achieve their goal of obtaining the Philosopher's Stone, a powerful object with the potential to revitalize their world, and will work towards their happiness. Merns expresses confusion about why Leo shared his extensive backstory with him. Leo explains that he told him all of that because Merns wanted to hear it, and encourages Merns to continue being genuine and considerate. He believes these qualities will help Merns conduct a good interview. A few days later, Leo meets with Edward's daughter, Julieta. She expresses concern about her father, particularly how seriously he's taking the defeat of his followers by a mere arch-chimera. Julieta explains that Edward expects his soldiers to be as strong as he is, and he's disappointed and thinks they're not putting in enough effort since they were defeated so easily. Upon hearing this, Leo assures Julieta that he'll handle Edward's behavior. Meanwhile, Merns talks to Steina and Lily and informs them that Leo is a living weapon. Steiner reacts by stating that if Leo does anything suspicious, they'll report him to Echidna, the Demon Queen. But for now, they decide to trust him while keeping an eye on his actions. The scene shifts to Leo pondering a plan to make Edward a better teacher. He comes across Lily's new report, detailing the discovery of a giant monster known as Mechanical Golem, and this gives him a great idea. Later on, Echidna calls Leo to inform him that Edward has decided to resign as a general and start over as a foot soldier. Leo reassures her that he'll take care of the problem. Before ending the call, Echidna tells Leo that once everything is resolved, she has something important to discuss with him. Finally, Lily presents the Mechanical Golem to Leo and Julieta. Leo explains that this giant monster is a weapon from the Industrial Age, and he plans to use it to solve the entire problem involving Edward and his soldiers. A few hours after the earlier events, Edward gathers his soldiers and tells them he's stepping down as general. He announces that Julieta will take over his position. However, their meeting is suddenly interrupted by the appearance of the Mechanical Golem at the camp. Edward quickly asserts that he's still in charge and orders his soldiers to attack the Golem. Despite their efforts, none of the soldiers manage to harm the giant machine, and they all run away in fear. Edward bravely tries to attack the Golem himself, but the Golem fights back with a sword and nearly wounds him seriously. Just in time, Leo shows up and begins to explain what the Golem's weapon is made of. He also offers Edward advice on how to defeat the giant machine. With Leo's guidance, Edward starts to fight the Golem effectively. Julieta then provides a crucial tip, pointing out that the machine's weak point is in its right torso. Edward takes her advice, strikes at that spot, and successfully defeats the Golem. However, the defeated Golem starts making a strange noise, waking up other nearby Golems. At this critical moment, Echidna appears with the remaining generals, and they work together to stop the other awakened Golems. After the conflict, Leo lectures Edward, pointing out that it's inconceivable he didn't know the Golem's weaknesses. He accuses Edward of not trying hard enough, leading Edward to realize that he has been treating his soldiers in the same way. This realization prompts Edward to apologize to his troops for his harsh treatment. His soldiers forgive him and promise to try harder in the future, urging him not to give up on them. Days after this conflict, we find Leo reading a book in his room. Steina enters and informs Leo of a special meeting that is to take place. Echidna plans to promote Leo to a leadership rank alongside the other generals. Leo responds to Steina's announcement about the special meeting by saying that he'll take the opportunity to explain his real reasons for joining the demon army. As Steina is about to leave, she notices that Leo is reading a book titled Ibrad, the one that joins hands. Leo simply tells her that he wanted to read something, without going into detail. Once Steina leaves the room, Leo reflects on how the Ibrad in the book differs from the real-life one. This thought leads to a flashback from thousands of years ago, where Leo is about to kill an imp named Ibrad. In this flashback, Ibrad explains to Leo that not all demons wanted to attack humanity. The situation began when the Demon King accidentally opened a portal connecting the human world with the demon world. Many demons were curious and wanted to see what the human world was like, thinking it might be better than their own world. Ibrad grows excited as he talks to Leo, sensing that if he keeps Leo interested in his story, he might not be killed. He describes the human world as fascinating and speaks of the harmony that once existed there. Unfortunately, according to Ibrad, the Demon King, Belial disrupted this harmony with his violent ways. Leo recognizes the name Belial from human records. Ibrad suggests that perhaps someone from the demon royalty appeared in the human world in the past, which could explain why the name Belial is found in various books. As the conversation continues, Ibrad and Leo go for a walk, and Ibrad shares more of his story. He tried to return to his world, but the portal was sealed, leaving him trapped in the human world. He explains that the demons' intentions were to expand because of a lack of resources in their world. But creatures like ogres and ghouls started a war, creating chaos in the human realm. Leo and Ibrad chat about the problems and dysfunctions of the demon world, and after hearing everything, Leo makes a decision. Instead of killing the imp, he takes Ibrad to the containment squad, recognizing that the information he has received could be valuable. Ibrad curiously asks for Leo's name, which brings a smile to Leo's face, as no demon had ever asked him this before. He introduces himself to Ibrad and shares the reasons behind his creation as a defender of humanity. Ibrad, in turn, tells Leo that his existence seems rather sad, trapped in a never-ending cycle of saving humanity. He suggests that Leo should find a new reason to live and begins to show genuine concern for Leo's well-being. Leo brushes off Ibrad's worry, explaining that he is the weakest among the Demonheart series and might die in combat anyway, so Ibrad shouldn't fret over him. As the containment squad arrives, Ibrad expresses his hope to Leo that humans and demons can eventually find a way to live in harmony. Before Leo leaves, Ibrad encourages him, telling him that if life becomes too hard, he should follow his own path and live life his way. He adds that if humanity no longer needs Leo, that could be his opportunity to find a new purpose. Ibrad asks Leo to remember his name, promising that he won't forget Leo's either. With that, the flashback ends. Back in the present, Leo heads to Echidna's living room, Ibrad's words still fresh in his mind. He's determined to reveal his true identity to the Queen. But the meeting is suddenly interrupted by a member of the army who announces that the portal of the Great Spirit is closing. Echidna, with the assistance of Steina and Leo, attempts to stop the portal from closing. After their efforts, they gather in a room, where Echidna informs them that the portal will remain open for no more than 7 days. We learn that the portal in question is the vital link between the human world and the demon world. If it were to close, it could take hundreds or even thousands of years to open another one. This puts everyone in a tight spot, leaving them with only 2 choices. The first option is to return to the demon world and disband the army. The second is to go to the kingdom and attempt to steal the Philosopher's Stone, a powerful object. However, since the kingdom is protected by the hero, Echidna, the queen, chooses the first option, not wanting to cause unnecessary bloodshed. At this moment, Lily starts to reveal the truth about the hero but is quickly silenced by Steina, who says that now is not the time for such revelations. Echidna, feeling defeated and emotional, stands up and turns her back to her followers, thanking them for their help. She does this to hide her tears, as she is heartbroken that she can't fulfill her dream of saving her world. Despite her sadness, she tries to stay strong, believing that a queen must never show weakness. However, Leo changes the course of the conversation by taking off his helmet and explaining that there are actually 2 Philosopher's Stones, not just one. Echidna is still facing away from him, so she doesn't see this revelation at first. Leo goes on to say that the Philosopher's Stone isn't a simple wish-granting device. They will need to find a manual that explains how it works so they can use its energy for Echidna's purpose. After explaining all this, Leo asks Echidna to turn around. When she does, she's shocked to see that Leo is really the hero she despises so much. This leads to her becoming very upset and causing a commotion. Once everyone calms down a bit, they sit and talk. Leo tries to explain that hiding his identity was the only way he could assist her, but this only makes Echidna angrier. Lily, Steina, Edwald, and Merns all step in to persuade Echidna to listen, which eventually leads her to calm down and accept the situation. Leo then reveals that the second Philosopher's Stone is located on a mountain, guarded by a powerful being. The group sets out towards the mountain, but along the way, Lily struggles with the cold, as her race is not adapted to low temperatures. Steina helps Lily with her cold problem by using a spell to keep her warm. With this problem solved, the group, including all the generals, can continue on their journey. As they walk, Leo and Echidna talk about the possibility of creating peace and harmony between the human and demon races. Echidna expresses her determination to do whatever it takes to achieve this peace, and Leo smiles in response. But Echidna notices a trace of sadness in his face. Before she can ponder it further, Leo starts teasing her, leading to a playful exchange where Echidna throws snow at him. She eventually dismisses the sadness she saw as just her imagination. The generals observe this interaction and are pleased to see that Leo and Echidna get along so well. They even think that Leo might become the 5th general. Then Leo shares the truth about his origin with Echidna. She's surprised to learn how old he is and the endless cycle of having to save humanity that he's caught in. When they reach the mountain's top, Merns wonders where the guardian they were told about is. Leo then shocks everyone by revealing that the guardian never existed, and that the second philosopher's stone is actually his heart. He goes on to tell them that if they try to run away, he will eliminate all the people in the world. He explains that they must kill him if they want to save both humanity and the demons. Then Leo attacks them with his sword, but Echidna is quick to use a spell to protect everyone. This intense moment triggers memories of Echidna's childhood. She remembers a servant telling her about a hero in the human world who protects people, describing how powerful he is. Echidna recalls how this hero was able to defeat not only the demon king Belial but also a mighty sorcerer named Estero. The servant warned Echidna not to challenge the hero once she becomes queen, as she could die by his hand. Echidna dismisses this warning, claiming that she could defeat him easily since he's only human. She adds, however, that she might never have to face the hero, as she doesn't want to be the queen of the demon world. Back in the present, Echidna attempts to talk to Leo, but he cuts her off, attacking her and initiating a sword duel. The generals watch in shock as the two fight. Leo manages to knock Echidna down, informing her that he was created solely to save the world. He then launches a powerful attack at her, but she dodges it. Leo tells Echidna that he will save the world even if he has to destroy it to do so, explaining that otherwise, he will lose his sense of identity. Echidna realizes that Leo's words are somewhat contradictory, but then his behavior takes a dark turn as he starts to act like a villain, laughing maniacally. He uses a wind spell to knock Echidna down and tries to kill her with his sword, but Edward steps in to stop him. He moves Leo away from the queen and attempts to face him one-on-one, telling Leo that they don't need to fight. Steina also tries to reason with Leo, but he grows angry, feeling that they don't understand the situation. He pushes Edward away and attempts to kill him, but Steina intervenes, using a spell to trap Leo in a dark, compressing prison. Leo quickly destroys the dark prison spell that had trapped him without any apparent effort. He then kicks Edward, sending him flying away, and challenges Steina, saying that if he wants the Philosopher's Stone, he'll have to fight seriously. Steina tries to understand why Leo can't continue to help them as he has been, attempting to reason with him. But Leo insists that if they don't kill him, everyone will die, and he attacks Steina with multiple magic arrows. Edward intervenes, using his body as a shield to protect Steina. Leo then tries to kill Edward, but Echidna stops him. Frustrated, Leo explains that he's fed up with everything, because of his ability to not die. He's stuck in a repetitive cycle of saving the world, doing the same thing over and over again. He creates multiple arrows in the sky and threatens to destroy all worlds, launching the arrows at Echidna and her generals. However, Echidna protects everyone with a magic shield. Lily then pleads with Leo to stop, offering to listen to his problems as he had once listened to her. Leo dismisses her, saying that their weakness is the biggest problem, and then attacks Lily, leaving her unconscious. Echidna becomes angry and no longer sees Leo as the hero he once was. She attacks him, intending to eliminate him. Steina also attacks, using a high-ranking spell to call down lightning on Leo's stomach, but he's completely unharmed, surprising both Echidna and Steina. Edward then stands up and shows his great respect and admiration for Leo. Even though Leo has turned against them, Edward still considers him a friend and decides to use his dragon blood to fight seriously. Edward starts fighting against Leo with everything he's got. But Leo is no easy opponent. He stops Edward's attack with his hand and freezes him entirely. Then, using fire magic, he damages Edward's dragon scales and kicks him in the stomach, taking him out of the fight. Echidna and Steina see this and decide they must fight together to defeat Leo. Steina creates an earth prison to trap Leo, and Echidna uses her fire magic to set it aflame. But Leo isn't trapped for long. He breaks free from the spells without a scratch. Echidna then remembers that Leo has a special ability called hyper-reactive ability, which lets him copy and enhance any power, including defensive ones. This makes him nearly unbeatable. As Leo slowly approaches Echidna, he suddenly gets a cut on his neck. Merns shows up, upset that he couldn't seriously injure Leo. He joins Echidna to fight against Leo. During the battle, Merns questions Leo's true motives. Leo says he wants to fight against the world, hoping someone can defeat him. But Merns doesn't believe him and uses an air skill to fight Leo in the sky. Leo copies the ability, and they battle among the clouds. Merns creates clones to confuse Leo, and tries to tell Leo that he knows he doesn't really hate the world or want to eliminate humans. But before he can reveal Leo's true intentions, he starts to freeze and falls from the sky, completely defeated. Leo starts laughing, but then Lily, transformed into the wolf Fenrir, launches a surprise attack. She tearfully tells Leo that she will try to stop him since he doesn't seem to be enjoying what he's doing. Despite her best efforts, Leo knocks her out with powerful lightning. Seeing their dire situation and the power of Leo, Echidna decides to use a final, powerful spell. She asks Steina to distract Leo to give her enough time to prepare this last-ditch effort. Steina agrees, jumping into action. As Echidna prepares her spell, she recalls a memory from her past. Her father, the Demon King, had taught her a special technique designed to defeat the hero. This technique was created by Astero and Echidna. Even though it's a long shot, she decides to use it against Leo. Meanwhile, Steina tries to reason with Leo while she fights him. She points out his kindness, explaining that he had multiple chances to kill them all, but he didn't. But despite her words, Leo gets close to Steina and lands a punch in her stomach, causing her to fall in defeat. As Leo moves to finish her off, Echidna completes her spell. She unleashes her last-ditch effort, a powerful spell called Anti-Hero. As the spell hurtles towards Leo, he's flooded with memories. He remembers a time when he walked through the streets of Renales and saw a woman giving bread to happy children. The woman wished for everlasting peace in the world, but Leo realizes that he doesn't share the same wish. He feels an intense wave of sadness, knowing that his very existence relies on the threats that humanity faces. In his despair, he hatches a plan. If he causes the chaos himself, he could continue to be the hero he's always been. With this plan in mind, Leo visits an abandoned laboratory and uses his magic to repair the broken equipment. After his work in the lab, he manages to recreate the Demon Heart series, which he still had in development. Leo then declares his new mission to everyone. He will bring chaos to the world and eliminate humanity. This way, he can keep his identity as a hero and continue his rescue missions indefinitely. After his dark revelation, Leo goes back to the city and discovers that a new portal has appeared in the mountains. He announces that he will protect everyone, taking charge of the situation. However, something inside him recognizes the drastic actions he's been taking. He suddenly understands that he was on the brink of destroying humanity for his own selfish desires. This realization shakes him deeply, and he decides to head back to the laboratory he recently built. Once there, he begins to destroy all the heroes of the Demon Heart series, feeling guilty about what he almost did. But after a moment of remorse, he regains some calmness. He then makes a monumental decision. He will stop being a hero and will give his Philosopher's Stone to someone more deserving. His new quest begins with him fighting and defeating the demon army that's been threatening humanity. During these battles, he encounters Echidna for the first time. He's impressed by her strong moral stance, as she orders her army not to shed unnecessary blood or engage in looting, destruction, or arson. Furious about Echidna, Leo kidnaps some of her soldiers to interrogate them. He finds that they all speak highly of their queen, which leads Leo to see Echidna as a potential successor. He then decides to test her and her generals, facing them in battle to gauge their determination and ability. After defeating all the generals and besting Echidna herself, Leo comes to believe that she's worthy of his Philosopher's Stone. Returning to the present moment, the spell Echidna cast, Anti-Leo, is bearing down on Leo. He offers her his thanks and accepts the full force of the attack. The spell's impact strips Leo of the abilities he's gained over 3,000 years, a significant blow. However, the spell also starts to affect Echidna. As she strains to maintain it, she begins to bleed. Echidna starts reflecting on Leo's life, coming to the understanding that his fate has been completely unjust. Despite being a hero, all he ever wanted was someone to save him. The irony and sadness of his situation begin to weigh on her. On the other hand, Leo expresses his contentment with having chosen the demon army as his companions. He fondly remembers the enjoyment he had spending time with Echidna and her generals. He begins to feel a sense of relief, knowing that his friends will likely succeed in bringing peace between the human and demonic worlds, even if it means his death. Suddenly, Echidna gives the command for her generals to strike Leo with their final attacks. They each unleash their most potent abilities, causing Leo to bleed for the first time in many years. Steina casts a mighty spell to try to eliminate Leo, but he calmly tells them that he's entrusting the rest to them. He then falls to the ground, prompting Echidna to cry out in a mix of anger and sorrow. After the battle, Leo wakes up, lying on the ground and on the brink of death. Surprisingly, he thinks to himself that losing actually feels good. Echidna and the generals gather around him. With a wistful smile, Leo mentions that he always wanted to play the role of a villain. He then informs Echidna that the Philosopher's Stone now belongs to her. However, Lily, overcome with emotion, pleads with them not to kill Leo, tears streaming down her face. Edward and Merns try to comfort her. As Echidna approaches Leo to extract the Philosopher's Stone, she hesitates and instead slaps him. She angrily tells him that she's too busy to do favors, and unexpectedly names Leo the ambassador between the human and demonic worlds. This announcement brings a smile to Edward's face. Leo pleads with Edward to see reason, but Edward responds that he still has much to learn from Leo. He believes that Leo is the only one capable of uniting both the human and demonic worlds. Edward agrees with Echidna's decision to keep Leo alive, showing faith in his mentor. Meanwhile, Lily scolds Leo, tears in her eyes, telling him that he should ask for help if he needs it. Leo, however, is more concerned about the limited time they have before his wound heals entirely, preventing the extraction of the Philosopher's Stone. Merns then approaches Leo, and Leo feels a glimmer of hope that Merns will be able to suppress his emotions and extract the Philosopher's Stone. Instead, Merns begins to kick Leo, telling him that he knows Leo has always wanted to live. He berates Leo, urging him to fulfill his own desire to live rather than die. Frustrated that Merns won't end his life, Leo turns to Steina for assistance. Steina, however, only points his spear at Leo, asking why he wants to die. Leo explains that his desire to die is to save humanity. Despite his strong sense of self, he still feels driven by his original programming to protect humanity. Steina argues that Leo's own ego should be sufficient to override this ingrained command and encourages him to try to do so. Leo closes his eyes and delves into his subconscious, where he hears a relentless voice urging him to protect humanity. It frustrates him, but after a few tense seconds, the voice stops. When Leo opens his eyes, he realizes that he has successfully deactivated the order imposed on him by humans. Echidna then speaks, telling Leo that if he truly wants to die, she will grant his wish. But she also states that since he no longer follows anyone's orders, he should work for her. At that moment, memories of Ibrad's words flood Leo's mind, causing him to break down in tears as his wound begins to close, marking a profound shift in his understanding of himself and his purpose. Echidna extends her hand to Leo and tells him to give up his life as a hero. Leo takes her hand and gets back on his feet, signifying his willingness to leave his heroic past behind. Echidna reassures him that his 3,000 years of suffering are finally over, a statement that fills all the generals with joy. After formally joining Echidna's army, Leo returns to the castle. He goes into a room where he finds the generals resting after the battle. Echidna is there as well, and she questions Leo, asking if he has any regrets since he missed his chance to die and free himself from his burdens, potentially for centuries to come. Leo assures her that he doesn't regret his choice. He explains that he wants to assist her in building a better world for both human and demon races, and therefore has no reason to feel any regret. Holding out his hand in a gesture of commitment, he promises to help in any way he can. Echidna reciprocates by extending her hand as well. However, their moment is interrupted by Julieta, who reports a new conflict involving the wyverns. Echidna quickly takes charge, waking the generals and assigning Edward to handle the situation. More subordinates enter the room, seeking the assistance of the other generals, and it becomes clear that there's still much work to be done within the army. Echidna tells Leo that they must focus on the present tasks at hand. Leo confidently replies that he will take care of everything. Watch this next video. See you on the next one.